Right now, there is a lot of noise, whether it is going to be parties being put on your calendar, gift guides coming through on social media, just a lot of messages of more. Do more, do this, buy this, plan this, schedule this, attend this. And it can be a lot. It's this current that is moving. And it can be really easy if we're not paying attention to get caught up in that swell and get caught up in that current and just be pushed downstream. And it takes an enormous, enormous amount of energy to step outside of that current, to get on the bank and just say, hold on, let me get grounded. Let me center myself and let me, from this vantage point, make some different choices and some different decisions. Hi, whatever time of day it is, just hi. I laugh. I just poured myself a cup of coffee, and if you guys don't know, I actually don't drink coffee. I drink tea. I gave up coffee about 2 years ago because well, for lots of reasons. One, my doctor told me I was drinking too much of it because I think there was nothing I loved more than red wine besides coffee. I was like a coffee connoisseur. I loved grinding the beans, like, I loved the whole process of it. I did a drip coffee, like, it was a whole thing, and it didn't love me back. It, like, was so sad. It was such a one-sided relationship, and I had a lot of anxiety, and my doctor was like, "I don't think coffee is helping you. Let's take a step back." And so I switched over to green tea about 2 years ago, and I'm not gonna lie, it's made a huge difference. This episode is not about coffee or green tea, but I'll just say I poured myself a cup of coffee today because I just needed it. Do you ever feel like you have one of those days you're just like, I don't know, just I needed a little treat. I have been having a lot of anxiety lately. Anybody else? Anybody else out there having some anxiety? So the coffee's probably not going to help. Have just not really been feeling my best the past couple of weeks. In fact, I actually recorded this episode yesterday, and my anxiety was just sort of eating me up, and I wasn't feeling great about the episode because I was trying to power through. And the thing about anxiety or any type of emotion is we can't really push through. And so I was trying to like be really positive and put together on here and come on and give you guys some optimistic stuff to like, I don't know, to do my thing. And it just felt fake. Does that make any sense? Like I was like, this is not real. This is not me. I need a do-over. So you are getting the really raw, tender, anxiety prone Katie today. I decided this morning I was just going to re-record it and I'm just going to speak to you as if you were here in my house having a cup of coffee with me and we are just going to, I don't know, be two people who are really honest and vulnerable. But back to the anxiety. I don't know what specifically it is. I don't know if it's because of like the culture in our society right now, everything with after the election, or if it's the holidays approaching. John Paul's been traveling the past couple of weeks, so maybe it's that or the kids are just getting older, but maybe probably a combination of all of it, but it just feels like my emotions are living closer to the surface than ever before. So, I cry at like commercials or like the kids will, I'll be looking at pictures of the kids and I'll get kind of teary eyed. And I also, though, on the flip side, feel like I'm more impatient with them than I normally am. I'm just living really exposed, if that makes any sense. You ever feel that way? Like your heart, where it should be on the inside, is just accidentally got placed on the outside. And so everything you experience just feels more like the beauty is more beautiful, but also the pain feels just a little more intense. So I'm just feeling all the things more intensely these days. But I know so many of you are in like a similar boat. I don't know anyone actually who's walking this planet right now who isn't kind of feeling that way. So I guess we're not alone. So my plan for today was to talk to you about the upcoming holidays. The next couple of months are going to be really full and big for a lot of people. And there's going to be a lot of things in our lives. Like it's just going to feel really busy for some of us. I think, regardless of what religion you are, or what nationality or culture you are, there's just a really full season ahead of us. And I wanted to just have a quick conversation sort of about what I'm doing as I am recognizing this current that I'm feeling myself getting pulled into, what I'm sort of doing and share about how my anxiety is kind of helping guide me, if you will. So, just kind of recognizing where I'm at today with my anxiety and looking at the season ahead for all of us and just kind of like, let's make a family game plan, me and you, about how we are going to get through these next couple of months in a way that feels really nourishing, really sustainable, and really good. Because I don't know about you, but I do not want to wait until January 1st to be like, okay, now it's time that Katie takes care of herself. Like that's not going to work for me. I do not want to go through November and December feeling overwhelmed and having this anxiety. Like I need to mitigate this. And I think we could all benefit from just chilling out a little bit, like let's just take the temperature down. So this is our little family meeting, and we are going to talk about how we're going to do that. So I had a little bit of a health scare last week. Oh my God, I wasn't going to talk about this. I don't know why I just said that. Um, I think the reason I'm bringing it up is because I think if I'm being honest, I had a little bit more anxiety around it than I wanted to admit. I usually tend to be a pretty independent woman who's like really strong, and I portray myself as this person who's like, I've got this. I'm really independent, and I don't like to scare people or burden people, and I'm just really cautious of being a burden on anyone. I don't know why I'm getting emotional with this. And I think that that served me really well. And also, I think it's not been so great because I've become so independent. I tend to put a facade on that I'm doing okay. So I found over the summer a lump in my right breast. And for those of you who don't know, I'm on hormone replacement therapy, I'm on estrogen. I had a hysterectomy a year and a half ago. I'll do another episode on like, you know, that whole experience because it's a lot. But anyway, the reason I say that is because I think I was afraid to talk about the lump because I'm on estrogen and there's already such a scare around breast cancer and the link with estrogen. And I didn't want to add to that outdated narrative. And so I was keeping it a little bit more at bay and to myself. I don't know if that was right or wrong. I was not worried that the estrogen had caused the lump in any way. I have always had really dense cystic breast. In fact, when I graduated college, I actually had 2 cysts removed from the same exact spot that I found this lump. So this wasn't like an estrogen thing. This was just this is how Katie's boobs have always been, a little lumpy and a little, like I've always had some cysts, but this one just felt different. It had been irritating me and bothering me all summer. And finally, I went to the doctor, and I'm one too to tend to be like, it's fine, I'm fine. Does anybody else like that? Like, I don't know, maybe as women, we just our pain threshold and like what we can handle is so big that we're so used to caring so much that I'm like, it's no big deal, it's fine. I've got a million other things to worry about. I'll worry about it later. I went and saw my doctor, and she was like, yeah, I don't love this. It doesn't feel great. And she's like, let's get a diagnostic ultrasound on it. And she's like, I'm sure it's fine, but like let's not be dumb. Let's not be naive. And so it took about a month. Thank you to our healthcare system that is not the best, but it took about a month to get in for my diagnostic mammogram. And I will tell you, it was kind of eating me up. And JP was traveling and he was gone. And I chose to go to the ultrasound alone. I don't know if I chose to, it's just kind of what happened. And because he was out of town, and I was really scared and nervous. And the news came back, oh, you guys are totally healthy, clear, like it's nothing to be worried about. It was just a very normal cyst. And I share that with you because I ended up leaving the doctor's office and going straight to the beach. And I just sat on the beach and I had this overwhelming emotion of gratitude and just appreciation for this incredible gift to be alive. There was just this overwhelming appreciation of this incredible, big, full life. I get to continue living. I get to continue experiencing. And I know there are so many women who walk out of those offices and who will continue to go into those situations and not be given the same diagnosis. And so there was this weight I felt of wanting to live for all of the women who don't necessarily get that chance that it was sort of like this eye opener for me. And I felt it even before I went to the office. I had a feeling I was fine. Like I just, in my gut, I knew I was fine, but I had this overwhelming weight of like, this was such a good wake up call for me. I think it can be really easy for all of us to get caught up in the day to day of our lives that we forget that this is like, this is a privilege to be able to age. It is a privilege to be able to be here and have this experience on this, you know, on this planet that we're spinning around on, that we get to experience all of this, the highs and the lows. And, I had been feeling that week really overwhelmed with the kids because I was solo parenting them that week. And I just had this moment of like, God, how lucky I am. I have 4 healthy children. I have this marriage of this person that I get to miss, right? I have this health that and this body that is capable of experiencing all of the richness of this life. And I think we can all, myself included, get pulled into the overwhelm and the busyness of our lives or the busyness of society and the expectations that we feel to do it all, that it can be really easy to let that lead us. And if anything, that moment for me last week standing on the beach was a wonderful reset for me of recognizing how I may have been unconsciously moving through the world, allowing my anxiety and this drive to do it all and to hold it all together and to be the strong woman, how that had been sort of driving me. And I think anxiety, we we tend to like push it away or downplay it sometimes or like, you know, think of it as a negative thing, but I really think of it as just information. It's our bodies and our mind's way of telling us where we need to make some changes, like where it needs attention. And I think if anything, the past few weeks, the anxiety that I've been feeling has been a wonderful little alarm that has gone off for me that said, we got to make some changes. Let's slow down. Let's reevaluate some things. And I'm choosing then to make some different choices as I go into this end of the year, as I go into this holiday season. I'm like, I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to feel that pit in my stomach. I don't want to feel that anxiety. I don't want to feel like I'm a failure. I don't want to feel like I'm behind. That sense of urgency. Like I'm just not interested in doing that. That was not fun. It doesn't feel good for me or for any of us. And instead, I want to take more of that emotion that I had on that beach of like, everything that I need is here and now. And it was this awareness, this appreciation of this incredible, big, beautiful life that I have. Like, I just want to enjoy it. I just want to enjoy this. I just want to slow down and just enjoy it. So, as we move into this holiday season, it's going to be really tempting to get pulled into the current of our culture. I always think about that. Like, right now, there is a lot of noise, whether it is going to be parties being put on your calendar, gift guides coming through on social media. There's a lot of messages of more. Like, do this, buy this, plan this, schedule this, attend this. And I do think it's all really well intended. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with any of it. I feel like everyone's heart is in the right place. And it can be a lot. It's this current that is moving. And it can be really easy if we're not paying attention to get caught up in that swell and get caught up in that current and just be pushed downstream. And it takes an enormous, enormous amount of energy to step outside of that current and to get on the bank and just say, hold on, let me get grounded. Let me center myself and let me, from this vantage point, make some different choices and some different decisions. I don't know that I was necessarily conscious of it. Well, I wouldn't have been conscious of it or I would have made a different choice. But for majority of my life, I found myself sort of being pulled along in the current of whatever was happening, whether it was friend stuff or family stuff, holidays, careers, motherhood. I just kind of got swept away into the fullness and the busyness and the doing of all the different things. And the holidays were no different. So when I grew up, holidays were always really important to my family, most likely to yours as well. And to be honest, they were really fun memories for me. Christmas Eve as a young girl was always my favorite holiday. And so they meant a lot to me personally. And so when I was a young mother, I really wanted to give that same thing to my kids. Like, I wanted to create those magical memories that I had, and I really put a lot of pressure on on the holidays. Anybody else do that? Or is it just me? Just kidding, I know we all do it, right? We put a lot of pressure on the holidays. My friend a friend of mine was joking with me that I sometimes have cherished outcomes that I want in certain situations. I mean, I think we all do this, and so when she says that, she means, like, you put pressure like, there's an outcome you're wanting, that you're expecting, so you're doing something for this perceived outcome, and I think for the holidays with my kids, I had a lot of cherished outcomes. I wanted things to be a certain way. I wanted them to come down the steps on Christmas morning and have a certain reaction, or I wanted, I pictured Christmas Eve being a certain way or Thanksgiving being a certain way. There was definitely an expectation to it. I was not practicing non attachment, I was definitely very attached. And it didn't go so great for me. And the older I got and the more kids we had and the more years of holiday traditions that happened, the more intense I think I became around our holidays. And it probably hit its peak right before COVID. JP and I were quite the entertainers. We'd always host the holidays at our home. So I always had, like the multiple Christmas trees, the big blowout, celebrations, and I did it all, like, over the top. I didn't know any other way to do it. As many of you know, I was a chef in my former life, and so also, like, hosting and putting together holidays, like, that was supposed to be my strong suit, like, it was sort of my identity, and as much as I wanted it to be really special for the kids, or I wanted to create these moments, I think the thing is I'm really being honest with myself, I look back on it, they were not fun times. Which is strange. I think we can all kinda do this, like, it's almost like we're doing it, we're going through the motions, but I didn't necessarily enjoy it. I felt like I was putting on the show or I was creating the moments for everyone else, but I myself wasn't living in the moments. Like, I wasn't experiencing them. I was busy thinking about what needed to go in the oven, what needed to come out. Did I put those sheets in? So, for the guest bedroom, like, are there extra towels and linens for the guests? Did I remember that last present that's hiding under my bed? Like, my mind was always racing with a million things that in my mind that I had to do. Because again, I carried all the weight on my own. I'm an independent woman. I was going to do it all on my own. And there was a lot of pressure I put on myself around the holidays. And so I wasn't able to actually step back and enjoy it and experience it because I was too busy orchestrating it. I was too busy controlling it. I was too busy perfecting it. And I wasn't actually experiencing it or enjoying it. And if I'm really looking back, I missed so much of it. I missed it. I remember this one year, so I write letters to the kids every year. We don't do a ton of presents, but I write letters to them. I'll talk about that in another day, but it's a beautiful tradition. If you ever want something, just like even if it's like at the new year, it doesn't have to be around Christmas, even around any holiday, but I just write the kids a letter every year, just like, this is what I see in you. And um, they were reading their letters in the morning, and I was filling people's coffee cups. And I spent so much time on those letters, and I didn't give myself permission to sit and enjoy and watch them read it. And the kids, when they read the letters, always get a little teary-eyed, and I was busy pouring coffee into people's mugs. Why? Why did I do that? Why did I do that? I mean, I know why I did it, but that was the year that after the holiday was over, I had said to JP, I'm like, "I feel like I missed it. I didn't enjoy it. I missed it, and I don't wanna do that anymore." And whether it's luck or however the world works is COVID happened that next year, and so that would be our last big holiday like that, and then we ended up moving to California, and so our home in Chicago was this, like, in my mind, was like the pinnacle of, like, my quintessential, like, we had made it house, like, I had decorated it to the T, and it was picture perfect and beautiful in all the ways that I'd want it to be, and yet I felt no attachment to it. And it's like, this no longer means anything to me. And so when we moved to California, I really wanted a chance to start over and I wanted to do things differently. And so when we moved and we sold our home, we sold a lot of the furniture in our house with the home. And so we moved to California really for just a couple suitcases. We did bring a few little things, but really minimal things. And so I had gotten rid of all of my hostessing and entertaining things and I had said to John Paul, like, "We're never doing big holidays like that again. We're gonna do it differently." And so our first year out in California, and you guys, this wasn't like a conscious plan. I wasn't like, we're gonna move to California so we can do holidays differently. It's just like when we moved, we got a chance to reset and make some different choices. And so I had said to him, I don't want to do the holidays like that. I want to enjoy them. So our first holiday out here, we ended up saying to our family, not that we didn't want them with us, but we're just like, we're going to do it by ourselves, just the six of us. I think I had a tendency to prioritize my extended family and the rest of my family. And I forgot that it's okay to put myself and our kids and be like, I'm actually going to focus my energy right now on this little unit and make this unit really solid and good. And so we had made the choice. I'm like, let's focus on just the six of us and have this holiday be just the six of us and see how that feels. And I'm not going to cook, which for me as a chef, is a big thing. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be I just don't want the pressure of it. So we ended up actually making homemade pasta the day before. We made a homemade lasagna and we put it in the fridge so that on Christmas Day we would not actually be cooking. We just like reheated things. And we spent the day at the beach. You guys, I don't think I put a bra on the entire time. And I didn't pour one person a cup of coffee. I only made coffee for myself. And as a non-coffee drinker, that was a big deal. But I sat on that couch and I watched my kids open every single present and I watched them read their letters and I didn't move and my eyes were locked in on them. And we laid on the couch and watched movies and we laughed at the beach and laid on blankets and I was in it. I was really in it. I was experiencing the holiday with them. I wasn't witnessing it. I wasn't planning it. I wasn't coordinating it. My mind and my emotions, my heart, the whole thing was there in my body in real time in the moment. And it was amazing. It was amazing. And it was the most low key holiday, like, I mean, really low key holiday that we had ever had. And that night, all of the kids individually had said to me, Mom, this was the best Christmas we've ever had. And I was like, I know, it kind of was. Let's keep this. And so I've become really protective over that. So it's funny, like as things are happening now and I'm seeing things online and people share things and all these ideas around holidays and families getting together. And not that, I mean, we are seeing our extended family this year, but I'm really protective and aware of like there's a lot of outside noise and a lot of messages of doing more. And, I'm a big fan of doing less. So we don't play that game. We're doing it differently. And I think it can be really hard, again, to step out of that river, that current, and change feels uncomfortable and it feels hard. And there's going to be pushback and there's going to be pressure. I'm not going to lie to you and say that it was easy or that like our family necessarily understood. And to be honest, there was a part of me that was questioning it. On Christmas Eve, I went to bed and I'm like, I said to JP, like, is this enough? Are we doing enough? I feel like maybe we should be going to do like, I just felt weird. It felt strange to me because we hadn't done it this way before. It was new. And so I think anytime we make a change, there's going to be a little bit of resistance that we feel. I mean, we know this for any kind of change that we try to make, but if it means changing things around the holidays, especially if you've done things for decades, it can feel like a little bit of pushback, like you're pushing through mud a little bit to make any type of change. And I just want you to know that that doesn't mean that it's not the right thing. It just means that you are so accustomed to doing things a certain way that that's what feels comfortable for you. And it can feel really vulnerable and scary doing things differently. But I'm going to tell you, it is so worth it. It's so worth it. And I'm not telling you to give up your traditions or not see your extended family. You get to pick and choose what works for you. But all I'm saying is that you have a choice. You have a choice. You have a choice to either stay in the current and to get pulled along and swept along unconsciously, moving through things without making conscious choices of what you want. Or you get to step out of that current and stand on the bank with your feet really rooted and grounded with a sense of gratitude, knowing that you are enough and you get to choose what is it that I want this holiday? What would feel really good for me? What would that look like? You have agency over your life. You have agency over your choices. You have agency over how this holiday goes. You have agency over all of it. You get to choose what feels the best for you. And so maybe that is the big, beautiful holiday party, or maybe it is the small, like frozen dinner you put in last minute. It doesn't matter. All I'm saying is you get to pick and choose what feels best for you. And guess what? You get to change your mind. You get to change your mind. So if this year something feels great and you're like, you know what, next year I want to have the blowout, great. Like none of it is that big of a deal. It's all okay. It's all an option and it's all okay. I do this exercise a lot with the women that I work with, and I actually do it a lot for myself is I check in with myself about the things that I say that I value and make sure that I'm living really in alignment with what I value and what's important to me. So you get out a piece of paper. You don't have to do this now, but maybe after you listen to the podcast, you get out of your car, wherever you are, and you grab a piece of paper, okay? And on the left hand side, you're going to write a list of all the things that you value. So for me, that would be like, I value the Pacific Ocean, seeing the sunset. I value tea time, tea time, time with my kids, making art with Sloan, seeing the sunset, going for long walks with John Paul, calling my mom. Like there's certain things that like I really cherish and value. And then on the right-hand side, make a list of all the things that you do. So whether it's like I did school pickup, I had to go to work, I walked the dog, I spent time with this friend, I went to this PTA meeting, like whatever it is, and make a list. And now there's always going to be things on that list that we have to do because we are humans living in a very impractical world. So like we're always going to have to pay the bills and go to work. Okay? Like that's just going to happen. No one's coming to take the trash out for you. So there is a part of our days that are going to be spent on things that necessarily aren't our values. But the thing I want you to do is just look and see where there's overlap or where are you missing overlap? Just become conscious of it and aware of it. Are there things on the left hand side that you value that you never get to in a whole week? Or are there a lot of things on that right hand side that you're spending a lot of time on, but aren't actually really important to you? And none of this is right or wrong, and it's not to be used as a sense of judgment. Remember, we're just using compassionate curiosity here. So we're just being really compassionate with ourselves and really curious, like what's going on? Where is my time and energy going? And what are the things that I say that I value? And if there is a little bit of a disconnect, where can I maybe make one small change to step a little further into alignment? I'm not asking you to blow up your whole life. You don't need to like never do the things on the right hand side, right? Like I can't spend my whole day like walking along the Pacific Ocean drinking tea. Like that's just not going to happen. But could I maybe make a little space for more of that? And so as you go through this next couple of months before we close the end of the year, you get to make a choice. And maybe this list is just how do I want to feel in the next couple of months? And maybe if this next couple of months is like, I want to spend a lot of time with friends. I want some deep connection with my children. I want rest. I want to prioritize my sleep. Like whatever it is, you get to pick and choose. And then take a step back and just look at your calendar or look at the list of how you're spending your time and ask yourself, like, do these match? And if they don't, where can you become a little more honest in either your relationships or your actions, your choices, so that you can live a little more in integrity in a way that feels in alignment for you? There is this concept in Buddhism called right speech. And really, it just boils down to not lying, okay? Let's just call it it's just not lying. But really, it's this idea of right speech being like right action, right thoughts, right words. And so it means having your outside actions match your internal feelings and thoughts and living in integrity. And I don't know if I've shared this before, but I this fall have taken a vow for the next 12 months. So I'm only on month 2 and it's really hard to practice right speech, which means you can't lie. And it's really hard because as I start moving through my days, it's so easy to want to text a friend back and be like, yeah, let's grab dinner. And in the back of my head, be like, we're not going to grab that dinner till forever. So it's funny. This is a really random story, but we went trick or treating and I saw this couple that I really, really like. And we were talking, and the wife was like, I'll text you, let's get dinner. And I was like, yes, let's do that. Let's schedule dinner for January. I was like, actually late January because I blah, blah whatever. And JP laughed and he's like, that was really weird. You just told someone in October that you're going to see them in January. And I was like, I know, because that's the truth. We can go back and forth and I can pretend a million different things, but I, this is a silly example, but all to say of really allowing your words to be honest. And I know that that feels really uncomfortable to do. And for some of us, it might feel easier, but I'm going to encourage you as you move through the next couple of months to really practice this right speech and to have your thoughts and your actions and your words really come from a place of sincerity and integrity for what you want. Because at the end of the day, it's okay for you to be honest about how you feel. It's okay for you to, no, it's not okay. It is your birthright. You are worthy of saying the truth. You are worthy of speaking up for what it is that you want. You are worthy of saying how you feel. I know it can feel uncomfortable, but the more you can step into that and practice it, the easier that muscle becomes, the stronger it becomes, the easier it is to trust that North Star. That muscle will grow and it will start coming into like your everyday actions, whether it's with your kids, your partner, your coworkers, of just having this right action and feeling confident and staying how you feel. And so I just want to encourage us as we move into this holiday season that as things come along and you're being invited to different activities or you're planning something, I'm going to encourage you to practice this right speech, to say what you want, to practice living what it is that you want and you value, and be confident enough in yourself and have agency over your words to ask for what it is that you need. We all have a choice right now as we go into these next couple months to either get swept up in the current, as I already talked about, or to consciously choose how it is that we want to feel and then communicate it to the people around us, to practice right speech, to say to our partners, our extended families, or our children or our friends, this is actually how I want to feel this holiday season. This is where what I value right now. People may not always get it and may not always support it, and that's okay. That's not your job. We can't control how other people feel, but what we can do is be honest about how we feel and what it is that we need. And so I'm just going to really encourage you to step back and ask yourself, how is it that I want to feel this holiday season? Like, what is it? What is it? Do you want peace? Do you want connection? Do you want joy? What is it? And then what is it that you need to make that happen? Okay, so we are going to close today's, it's about to say meditation, but today's podcast with a little mindful moment. You know, I want to call it meditation, but I don't want anyone to freak out and to be like, I hate meditation. I promise it's gonna be okay, but it is a little just a little mindful moment here. So, if you are driving in a car, keep your eyes open, but if you are at home in a place where you can close your eyes, I'm just gonna encourage you just to close your eyes for 1 minute with me, okay? Just 1 minute. So go ahead and close your eyes, let them flutter shut. I see you peeking. Just shut those eyes and just place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Just for a moment, just feel your own embrace, your warm hands against your skin, maybe even placing a hand underneath your shirt, right on your belly. No one's watching. And just check in with your breath without too much force. Just see if you can gently lengthen that inhale and lengthen that exhale. And bringing your awareness to your heart center, giving yourself a little gentle reminder that whatever it is that you're craving this holiday season, whether it is joy, whether it's connection, relaxation, whatever it is, that you are worthy of it. No, there is nothing you need to do, to plan, to buy. There's no urgency. There's nothing you need to do in order to be loved. That you are worthy right now in this exact moment of your own love and your own compassion. And that you get to ask yourself the simple question of, how do I want to feel this holiday season? How do I want to feel this holiday season? And just sit with that question for another few moments here. Don't overthink the answer. How do I want to feel this holiday season? Trusting that you are your own guide and that you have You are worthy of trusting your own intuition and your own North Star, that it will not lead you astray, that you are safe to listen to your own wants and needs and desires. And when you are ready, gently flooding your eyes back open, coming back to the space around you. Well done. Whatever it was that came up for you of like how you want to feel this holiday season, I want that to be your intention for you moving forward for the next couple of months. So maybe just grab a little sticky note or a little piece of paper and just write down like one or two words. Like, I want to feel more connection to my kids. I want to feel less stress. I want whatever it is that you want to feel. And just stick that on your refrigerator, on your mirror, or someplace as a reminder to you of like, this is how I get to move forward. You, again, don't have to move subconsciously through that river that is pulling all of us. You get to step out of it. I know it feels really difficult, but you can. You can choose to do things differently this year or do things the same. Either way, it's up to you. I want you to leave this episode feeling really empowered that you don't need to wish away these next couple of months. You don't need to wait till January to take care of yourself. You don't need to ask permission from your mother in law, your sister in law, or your best friend, or the school, whatever, to take care of yourself and to do what feels really good for you. You get to set up your life in a way that feels good for you. Okay, thank you so much for being here and joining me today. I love you all so much, and I'm just wishing all of us a really happy and easeful next couple of months. And I just want to preface that by saying, I know, probably myself included, that the holidays are going to go a certain way. They're just going to go a certain way. As much as we try to be like, you know what, I'm going to say, like, my intention is to feel really relaxed this holiday. And so that's my intention. And now, is it going to translate to that 100%? Probably not. Am I going to still have a moment where I'm overwhelmed and stressed or the kids do something like, yes, of course, of course. We're still going to have those human moments. Life is still going to be really lifey. And so in those moments when it doesn't feel like you're like, Katie told me to have an intention. And I chose peace and I'm not feeling peace. It's okay because we still in that moment have a choice, like no matter what's going on the external. So even if your house is crazed and you have a million and one people and house guests, you can make the choice to be non attached. And however things are on the outside, we just recognize it, we're aware of it, and we let go of our attachment to it. It can be really easy to want to control things on the outside or to want to fix things when they feel like they're not going right. So if things don't go right over the next couple of months or things feel overwhelming, we're going to practice non-attachment and we're going to let go of any of those expectations. We're going to let go of the need to control, and we're just going to allow things to be what they are. Just whatever it is, just let it be what it is. Just be what it is. Peaceful, great. Chaotic, great. Doesn't matter. Just let it be what it is. And then you get to come back to that intention. And so if it's still like, yes, the house is chaos, and I'm going to step away for a second and go put my feet outside. I'm going to step in the snow. I'm going to go on the porch by myself and have a moment of peace and turn inward, turn within, and just have that moment of peace. Even if the kids are screaming on the inside, even if the turkey is burning, whatever, you get to choose. Okay. Don't get caught up in that current. You're too good for that. You got this. I believe in you. I believe in us. This is a good family meeting. I'm glad we did this. I'm going to go reheat my cup of coffee because I didn't end up drinking it, which is probably a good thing. And I just am really proud of you. It can be really easy to not make some of these choices and to just go through life unconscious. It's so much easier. Trust me, people do it all the time. What you're doing is not for the faint of heart. I give you a lot of credit for showing up here and taking care of yourself and, trying to live more aware and consciously. Not everyone chooses to do that. So I think you're awesome. You're doing an amazing job. And I love you. And I will talk to you next week. All right.